Hey Brian, Coach Brandon here, and we'll go ahead and look at a few of the videos that you have sent me recently, and hope you had a very wonderful Christmas with the family. I know training went down a little bit in terms of frequency. That's completely fine. I don't think I had one client have some kind of issue during this week, so no big deal. That's kind of across the board, including myself, my own training. So let's go ahead and look at things though. We're going to start with a bench press video, I believe. Yes. All right. Awesome. Nice. So right there is gorgeous. So one thing I will mention, I've already seen all these, but you'll notice there with the video that we just saw together, the first rep, the glutes came up quite a bit, by a few inches. The second rep, they did not budge. Now, one thing that I want you to kind of get used to thinking about is that leg drive is not a drive as you actually bench press. A lot of individuals think of it like that. Leg drive is something that happens throughout the bench press. It's something where you get your feet as close as you can, you relatively keeping them straight. That'll actually help the glutes coming up. The further they are out, the more likely your glutes will come up. So for you, a nice little helper will be going from toes here to toes here, have them fairly straight. But anyways, leg drive, getting your feet as far as you can under you to help stabilize everything upstream, along with getting the best arch possible. That's what leg drive is. It happens before you even unrack the weight. So I think it's going to be a really good idea to think of it like that. Get your feet as far under you as possible, but don't think of it as a burst of energy. You know, that's usually when the glutes come up, is the individuals that try to drive their legs into the barbell, and that doesn't always carry over very well. And for individuals that are having troubles with their glutes leaving the bench, try to make it so that doesn't even happen. Glutes don't even come up. We're not ever trying to press into it as we come off our chest. Instead, let's just have a constant leg drive throughout the bench press on the eccentric, concentric, throughout all of it. And that's going to be a really good kind of ideal change to help drive home this concept. But it looks a lot better already. It's really, really cool. Out of that set, I think it was 5 reps, and only the first rep, the glutes came up. The more fatigue you got, the less likely they were to come up, and actually moved faster when your glutes didn't leave the bench. That tells me that you are kind of doing the right things in terms of dialing it in. I think right now, though, it's happening when with the first rep of a lot of sets, because that's when you're the most excited. That's when you got to drive out the most to kind of last throughout the set. And unfortunately, though, that's the same kind of excitement you're going to have at the meet as well. So one thing that's going to be very helpful for you, not only going toes out to toes in, but also if you ever find yourself at a point where you're doing more of your maximal work, your back off doubles, whatever it may be, let's go ahead and take those feet further out from under you if need be. If the change in concept of leg drive being consistent and always on rather than it being on right as it comes off your chest, if that alone doesn't help, then let's go ahead and move those bad boys further out. Whatever we can do to kind of help drive home the idea of the glutes never leaving the bench. But again, already huge strides in the right direction. Looks really good. Out of that set of 5, only one time did it happen. So I'm really excited about that. That's awesome. That's exactly where we want to be right now. Looking at the next video, which I believe is a squat. All right, awesome. So before I even watch this video, there's a point with our toes being forward. There's a point in our hip capsule where we can't get any further and down in the squat without the lumbar losing composition or something changing in terms of knee position, toe position, whatever it may be. If my feet are straight forward, the way I squat down to an extent at least and have my barbell be right in my midfoot where it needs to be for maximal power transfer is my knees have to continually travel forward. So your shin angle starts here, and then as you ascend down, if your toes are forward, your knee just continually tracks forward over your toes. So it's going to be here, 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 and it gets to a point where you can't get any deeper because your knees are already a mile over your toes, which that alone is not the best place to produce power from. But take it a step further, we're not getting full range of motion. So what I want to do with you is let's change up the stance. Now is going to be the time to do it. And then when it comes to wraps, believe it or not, having our toes further out will actually help the wraps work better. So we'll be pushing out into them much, much more. So individuals that have their toes fairly straightforward and have a ton of forward shin angle as they squat down are individuals that don't get nearly as much out of wraps. The wider stance individuals, the knees out individuals, the ones that guide their knees out as they ascend in the whole of a squat, those are the ones that get the most out of wraps. And since we're switching over to wraps, I think this is going to help both your bare knee squats and your wrap squats. going from toes to about here to here. Let's widen those bad boys out and possibly widen the stance too. And that way you're able to sit back more, not have as much of a forward shin angle, and on top of that, get a far greater range of motion. But we have to do it now to give your body time to adapt to that stance. Now, I've included wrap squat sessions into your squat primary day. You're going to be doing quite a few sets. Your knees are going to kind of hate you for a while. You're going to lose all your hair on your knees. A very fun phase of training. But this is going to be the time to practice the knees out cue, change stance a little bit, and let your body adapt to it. Plus, like I said, you'll get a lot more out of wraps with that kind of style of stance. So let's really focus on that. It's going to help significantly with depth. And let's really start working on wraps now. Let's get them all videotaped, because if you're having issues with hitting depth with sleeves or bare knee, hitting depth with wraps, even harder to an extent. You're going to have to pull yourself into the hole and really gain awareness of what 90 degrees feels like so you can hit it and get the fuck out of it every single time very consistently. So for you, let's get those wrap squat sessions going. Let's hit the side angle camera view, look at it between every single set. You have 3 sets of 4, I believe, to start things off, and a heavy back off double. But 3 sets of 4, let's look at the video for the first set. If it's not deep enough, let's change some things. Let's think about it getting deeper, even reduce load so that you're below the weight range if need be. That's completely fine. More than anything, I just want to hit depth right now so your body can adapt to both the new positions and get awareness of what 90 degrees feels like, so there's no question, no doubt come meet day. So let's really focus on that. If the first set, don't get low enough, let's adapt to it the second set and the third set. So at least 1 set of the 3 sets of 4 on your squat primary day should be absolutely to depth, and hopefully the top set double will be as well. When you're getting into wrap squat sessions, I noticed I've only seen 1 video of you in wraps, and I haven't actually included any wrap sessions in your training until now. So when you're wearing wraps, if your toes are not going in, the one video I saw, it didn't look like they were very tight. Now, we should be striving for as much material behind the knee as possible. One of the biggest mistakes people make is that they'll start the wrap too low. So look at my knee here. They'll start the wrap way the hell down here. That's wasted material. That does absolutely nothing for your squat. I want you to start the wrap right at the knee and end the wrap right around the vastus medialis, right around here. This is our area right here. No lower, no higher. This is our area. Any higher doesn't do jack shit. Any lower doesn't do jack shit. We're only using 2.5 meters, so 2.5 meter wraps, and we have to make sure that your wraps are legal too, because USPA only uses 2.5. But once people get to like 3.5 meter wraps, you don't have to be that exact. You can get some above that area I just showed. No big deal, because there's so much fucking material. But with 2.5, we have to make every inch of that material count. So let's really focus on them being in that area. And the general idea, I know you already watched the video on it, but a good way to make them tighter is the first thing we do if we're wrapping this way, and always wrap out. Really important concept. So on this knee, it's going to be this way. On this knee, we're starting out this way. Now, this is kind of a crash course. I can send you some more exact videos as well. But a good way to get them as tight as possible is up as far as you can, to side as far as you can, lay it down, keeping that tension. That's how we do it with every single wrap. Keep it in that area. Make it so tight that by the time you get on that bar, you are losing feeling in your toes, and that's exactly how it should be. And with that, you should be at a point where you're having to actually pull yourself into the hole, which is why we really need to gain awareness of what 90 degrees is with wraps right now. The last thing we have to figure out is what kind of wraps you like. Some individuals are 100% stretchy, springier wraps, like the grippers, the Inzer grippers. Those are really popular ones, but those are a classic example of stretchy wraps. Then there's the ones that are more stiff. I personally have just switched over to a stiffer wrap, and it feels like you are hitting a cement wall by the time you ascend into the hole. Usually individuals that are more athlete-based, kind of rely on muscle elasticity, usually prefer the stretchier wraps, the Inzer grippers, things of that nature, which is actually one Duffin uses, or individuals that have a lot slower powerlifter style of squat usually prefer the stiffer wraps. But again, it goes a lot deeper than that. If I were you, I would try to either hook up with a powerlifting friend of yours, try a few of their wraps out, or you can just buy a few, see which ones you like, take back the ones you don't, whatever it may be. And when you come here, you can try as many as you want with me, because I have like 8 different styles of wraps, and each coach has probably even more than that. So you'll have a wide selection of things that you can try and find that fit your squat style most. But at the same time, I would like you to start squatting with the wraps that you use for the meat as soon as physically possible so you can get dialed the fuck in with them. So let's try to find those as soon as possible. Find the right wraps for you. Let's really focus on dialing in the actual wrap, dialing it the fuck in, because oftentimes the biggest thing that people mess up on is that you're going to hear, Brandon Morgan. Like for me, it's going to be Brandon Morgan, you're in the hole. That's the time that you have to start. So now you have to be dialed in, wrap it perfectly, wrap this one perfectly. If you do it too early, things get numb, your squat ends up being dog shit. If you do it too late, then you might run out of time on the platform. So as you can see, it's a little bit of timing practice. So it's really dial in the actual wrapping of your knee, find the right wraps for you, and if you can, please videotape yourself actually wrapping your knee and send it over to me. I can have myself and Duffin look at it. I personally have had a lot of wrapped experience, but not nearly as much as someone like Duffin. So I can have him look at it as well, see if he has any suggestions for you. But let's go ahead and start that process now so we can be dialed in and have no variables coming meet day. That's kind of a long rant, but very important one. Lastly, sumo deadlifts. And realistically, this isn't even something we have to go over a ton. Knees are finally locking out. I love it. Look at that. Straight, gorgeous. Really good. Last concept I want to dial in right now is avoiding that forward motion. Let's go ahead and see if we can pull up a little more slack. That way we avoid that forward motion. Avoiding the forward motion will not only have less energy waste, but also help you out with the top half of the deadlift quite a bit, along with the velocity on the floor. It's a lifesaver in every single facet of a sumo deadlift, just dialing in the tension building portion. So it looks a lot better. We're actually locking out the knees, which is exactly what I want. You have a legal sumo deadlift. Start pushing the load now. And now that Christmas is over, you're back on track. Obviously, things can be a little more consistent, so good things coming. I think that's about it for things I want to cover with you. I hope I didn't go on too much of a tangent there for wraps, but I personally have done a few wrap meets already, and my first one was a bit of a shit show because there's a lot of things to consider that I didn't. So let me know if you have any questions on that whatsoever.